Welcome to Grit, the Real Estate Growth Mindset podcast, hosted by Brian Charlesworth, founder of Sisu. Sisu provides growth automation software for real estate. You'll hear stories from real estate thought and technology leaders, team owners, and brokers on how they grew their business in a rapidly changing industry. You'll learn how to transform your brokerage and teams into a high-performing and analytics-driven business so you have a new, durable, competitive advantage against disruption in your market. So let's get right into it.
Eric, I'm excited to have you on the show. I believe you are actually part of Gary's mastermind at KW. You have been for quite some time now. You're a MAPS coach as well, is that right?
I actually am not a MAPS coach, but have had MAPS coaches. Yeah, we do some coaching internally and with some agents here locally as well.
Okay. Just to give us a background on today, maybe you could share with us a little bit more about the size of your team, where you guys are based, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, so we're based out of Indianapolis. So I've been in real estate since 2013, worked full-time selling paint until I decided to upgrade to real estate in 2015. Became the number one KW agent in the Ohio Valley region with Keller Williams in 2017. Started a team the next year. Our first year as a team, we closed 240 units. And then last year did about 290. And pacing for right around the same number this year. One of the things we've had a lot of success with is because my career trajectory was pretty quick as an individual agent and then starting the team. One of the things we've had a lot of success with is taking brand new agents with no experience and teaching them how to excel in real estate and become effective in their first 12 months and then multiplying that. So that's been our strategy in the past and really where we're doubling down for the future.
Yeah, I think it's a great strategy. There are many that I know that prefer brand new agents that they can mold and shape over experienced agents that are set in their ways and don't want to be a part of the culture that you're setting as a leader. So, yeah,
that's one of the challenges. The downside to new agents is that, one of the things is when you have a pattern of having success in building new agents from zero to say 40, 50 units their first 12 months, there can become a sense of ego that builds with that because they don't realize that 40 and 50 closings in your first year is not a normal career trajectory for a real estate agent. And so we've tried to figure out how to battle through that. And we think we're excited about a new program that we just started to try to overcome that.
Yeah. Okay. That's awesome. I love what you guys are doing as far as you've got this immersion program where you're training them and then you're basically giving them, it sounds like, a career path into building them to backfill your business. And so you're not only training agents, you're training them to become leaders. Is that right?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I run a Keller Williams market center as well. And when I look at the data around new agents, when getting into real estate, the average agent is making like $9,000 in their first 2 years. And, 8 out of 10 of them fail. And oftentimes we blame the agent for those numbers. And the reality is, in my opinion, the industry has a systemic failure around training and making agents successful when they get licensed. And so really we've set out a mission that says, okay, we think we have the tools, the resources, and the training to solve this problem. And now let's prove it in mass quantity. So we've worked 18 agents through our program that's been more accelerated and a little bit more of a high level content. And then in the last 12 months, we've been working on a 36-month commitment where the first 12 months is all an educational curriculum where they're working lead generation half a day, education the other half of the day. It's modeled a lot after what a resident would be doing while shadowing physicians as they work through that like fellowship towards specialization. And so we've been trying to adopt a specialized career path for agents. The next 2 years then of that 36-month commitment, they work with the team as a traditional agent. And then at the end of their 36-month immersion program, they then can determine their career path, whether they stay on and then mentor agents who are backfilling the program to give them some leadership training and practice. They join as single agents to the KW Market Center or stay as a team agent.
Okay. So I think it's a genius plan. Tell me about the first 12 months. You said half of the day they're really learning. They're basically in their internship, if you will.
Yeah.
And then the other half of the day they're in production?
Yeah. So we've broken it up. As you know, one of the problems that I have with our industry is that there are so many ways that you can do lead generation. If you Google, there's probably 120, 130 sources for ideas on where you can generate leads. And the problem is that I find that agents have no clear blueprint, and therefore they try as many things as they can until they eventually fail out. So we've determined a clear path through curriculum and through weekly testing, daily reporting, monthly modules that they have to complete. And so like month one, for instance, on the lead generation portion would be circle prospecting. So the only thing we're going to do for the first 30 days of their training program would be teach and train on the tools they need and the conversations and fundamentals of lead generation. And then the lowest converting lead generation portion of the industry is circle prospecting. So we want to take them as newbies and put them out onto circle prospecting rather than pairing them with the expensive leads. And then they're going to kind of work themselves up through that conversion rate as they go throughout the 12-month cycle. So in the second half of the first year, they're working with real estate tax strategies or wealth building strategies through investing in real estate, or how to work with a downsizing buyer while also working with a seller on a price reduction. Some of the more challenging aspects of the business that some agents never learn. And yet we believe that if we can teach them to be well-rounded, well-educated agents, that they'll have a long-term career in the industry.
Yeah, I totally agree with everything you're saying. As far as getting agents to be successful, if they join, in my opinion, if they join the right team, they will become successful.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So there's almost not an option. If they're not going to be, they'll weed themselves out very, very quickly.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what we found. We of the 18 that we've put through, we've attempted with 19. So we've had one that we selected to get out of business with. Otherwise, our agents average 38 transactions. Those 18 agents that have been through the program average 38 transactions in their first full 12 months of operating in the industry. And so, the data says that if you do the right activities enough time with the right people, the right accountability and the right team, it really is a no-fail proposition.
Yeah, so they're doing 38 transactions. Are you saying in the first 12 months, or are you saying in the 12 to 24-month period?
So it would be in the 12 to 24, because in this full year program, they're not actually working with clients on their own. They're setting appointments, handing them off, and serving as like an intern capacity. Now, in the past, we've done it in a 6-month role. And then so the first 12 months, they've been out in the field with customers. That's their average.
Okay, then those are phenomenal numbers. I mean, to have a team, any team producing at 38 transactions per agent, is incredible. So you said as long as they do the activities, they're going to be successful. How do you get them to do the activities?
Psychological warfare. I think that's one of the challenges. Is truly it's understanding every person, and then realizing that what works last month to get your agents motivated and excited to go out and do the daily activities may not work this month, which means we may need a different approach. And that's where, I heard your wife talk about having the benefit of a lot of mindset training. So we do a lot of mindset training and coaching. We have one-on-ones with all of our agents each week around their thinking, around what their limitations are as far as self-imposed limitations, and then what their activities look like. So as long as we're staying close and in dialogue with our agents and knowing what may be going on in their personal life and in their professional life, we can usually help them maintain that focus. And then sometimes, I'll poke them and annoy them to do the activities, and then sometimes I'll give them space. We may run contests. We may, do partnerships. It's throw the book at them and try to understand who they are and what motivates them. I wish
so every month you feel the same way as most. It sounds like every month you're starting over, having to get creative on how to motivate your agent.
And that's really where that's the really the basis of where we started the program is that what keeps me up at night is not the challenge of selling real estate. It's the challenge of not wanting my job back of going out and selling real estate. And so I realized that in our industry, when the average agent stays with a team 2.5 years, that I'm really a college recruiter. I might as well be Coach K or John Calipari, because every 3 years I have an entirely new roster based on the data in our industry. And so I realized that my job is actually just recruiting and multiplication of agents. And so I've made peace with that and realized that then the core competency is going to find agents. And every week it is remotivating and reengaging them.
Yeah. So your job is number one, recruiting, number two, motivating your agents.
Yeah.
And of course, training them and getting them to that level. Yeah. So share with us some of the ideas that you've found to be effective ways to motivate agents.
Well, one of the things that I like to do personally is I like to teach a lot of thinking strategies. So when I'm looking for personality traits or what an agent who succeeds in our system looks like or sounds like, one of the things I really look for is problem solving. So how well is someone able to strategically think through a unique situation, and are they willing to look at something a totally different way? And that's because right now real estate, as you know, is moving at this like rapid rate where 2020 is who knows what's tomorrow. And that requires agents who are willing to let go of everything that used to work for them in order to adopt something new that works this week for that market of the moment. And so knowing that I like problem solving agents, I usually will give them problems to solve as a way of motivating them. So some of those problems might be, hey, I noticed that your teammate was not motivated this week. Why don't the two of you pair up and you teach John Doe about your open house strategy and go work an open house with him this weekend? Or why don't you partner with another agent who may not be hitting the numbers, and your challenge this week is to get results out of our underperforming agent? And so knowing how are the ways that we can both simultaneously build culture and give our agents the ability to display some early signs of leadership is kind of one of the things that we try to do on a regular basis. And then a lot of it is unpacking what holds people back. We all have our own head trash. And the more that I can help them unwind their head trash, the more effective they are. And that usually leads to motivation, because when they realize how much I care, the pressure of them not showing up and doing the job means they're letting me down. And most of the time, all of us will do a lot more for other people than we'll do for ourselves. And so we have that culture internally significantly with the team.
Yeah, that's the one-on-one training like that, I think, is probably something that every team could do more of. And it's such a great idea. It gives you leverage as well. At the same time, you're teaching them to become leaders. So. Yeah,
I mean, it takes a lot of time. That's the reason why, when I started and building a team, we didn't have regular meetings. We didn't run a regular schedule with one-on-one coaching appointments. I'm not even sure if we met as an operations team on a regular basis to talk about where we were going as a company. And so arguably one of the most effective things that we've done is have meetings. And that's where Sisu comes into play, right? Is because every week at our all team meeting, we're putting up the dashboard of where we are. That agent accountability report shows up that says, hey, Jane, you logged 3 days last week. Everybody else logged 5. Were you on vacation the other 2 days, or what got in the way? Did your phone break down? Do we need to start a GoFundMe to help you get a new smartphone so you can log your activities? What was it? And so we're reminding them that what we give energy to, our agents also give energy to. And so I give energy to showing those numbers on a weekly basis. So we have them prepared publicly and then privately, of course.
Yes. So you meet as a team once a week, and then you meet individually with one-on-ones once a week. Is that how you do that?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Monday mornings we meet as a team, and that's really a kind of a market update / thinking lesson, sales lesson for the entire company, including our admin.
If you've been enjoying Grit, please help us continue to grow the channel by leaving a 5-star review and sharing it with a friend. Now back to Grit.
And then are you doing all of the one-on-ones, or do you have agents who are moving into leadership roles assist with that, or how do you do that?
Yeah, so our operations director takes a portion of them, and then I take a portion of them. So some of our higher producers are the ones that have the leadership capabilities, or what looks like will move into that position. From a results standpoint, I'll take their one-on-ones.
Okay, let's talk about recruiting for a minute, because it seems to me, well, number one, you've done a phenomenal job of it. Number two, though, seems to me it would be really difficult to recruit agents and talent when you're saying you're not selling real estate for the first year. I mean, I think this program you're doing, it sounds amazing. However, it sounds to me like that's a real challenge to recruit into that. And I could be wrong. So just for people out there looking at how are you doing this, number one, how do you recruit into that? But number two, what is your recruiting strategy with that being such an important part of the business? As you said, you are a college coach recruiting constantly. So what's your strategy around that?
Well, I think there's a couple of things. One, you have to be non-negotiable on who you will and will not be in business with. And so because we're clear on who we won't be in business with, we're clear on who we will be in business with pretty easily. So, one of our hard, fast rules is we don't negotiate commission, period. And if commission is a reason, and by commission I mean splitting internally as a team is a non-negotiable conversation. If that's what limits us, or we spend a lot of time and energy on, we know we're just not a good fit. Because I need people who understand the difference between value and price. If we can get you to 40 plus units every year, we'll likely never talk about what a splitting and capping policy looks like. So we're really clear that when I meet with someone, they need to be abundant thinking. They need to understand that they're investing in themselves when they join the company to be a part of a program in which, as long as they follow the blueprint and the model, that they'll find success that they desire. And so what we're looking for is agents who understand that it's really a one-year commitment. And all things considered, we've kind of had this limiting belief concept of what people will and won't do for a short period of time. And a lot of that depends on how big of a picture you paint for them. And how much of a vision have you delivered to them that makes it worth them committing to 12 months? And it's only 12 months. If we can make it through 2020, anyone can make it through whatever that 12-month period is, right? And so we look at like doctors do this, right? And the reason why physicians agree to do this grueling residency period, or Navy SEALs agree to do a grueling training period, is because of the payoff. I pledged in a fraternity and it sucked. And I knew that when that semester was over, so was everything that came with pledgeship. And so I could grind it out through long enough to the end date. And so knowing that we want to be in business with people who think big enough to understand the value proposition helps. How do we recruit them? Well, that's a totally different thing, because for us, what we've done is really try to be public about what our culture and values look like, so that people know going in, here's who I'm meeting with, here's how they think, how they act, how they talk, and what they expect of me. And we're just not even going to sit down together if that message doesn't resonate. So I'm doing podcasts, doing video, social media posts. Almost all of our media focuses on our culture and our way of thinking and acting.
Okay, so it sounds to me like you're not one that goes to schools to recruit. You're basically putting it out there on podcasts. You're adding value to the community, and you're attracting. My guess is these people are just attracting, and they're coming to you rather than you going to them. Is that a fair statement?
Yeah, that's largely true. Now, we are actually going to the schools now and recruiting. Okay. Because one of the things we did during the initial stages of the pandemic, as our competitors pulled back, we actually pushed forward. So we hired 3 recruiting companies to go out and actively recruit agents and sales professionals from other industries so that we could backfill a pipeline. So we're working through a pretty substantial pipeline of people who've raised their hand with interest in getting into the industry. And so we are working just off the like school graduate list or off of something like a Wise Hire or some of the third-party recruiting companies. And
if you're hiring a third-party recruiting company in the software world, like I would be paying them 20% of whatever their salary is when they come in for that recruit. How does that work in real estate when you're bringing someone in who's 1099? And I believe that's how you're doing it, or are you actually bring in W-2s?
Yeah, we bring them in as 1099s. So one of the things that we've done, especially this year, was realize that the recruiting industry was not exactly thriving in April and May. And so we were able to negotiate some different deals where it was, hey, for an upfront fixed amount, this is what we'll pay you to recruit in one person. And then if you don't like that upfront fixed amount, if they survive 90 days, then we'll increase it because it's no risk to us. So take the guarantee smaller amount or take a larger amount and the lead stays for 90 days.
Okay. So you negotiated that March, April, May. Is that something that they're still willing to honor? Do you think if I went and negotiated that today, I would have a shot of getting a company like that to agree to that?
Yeah, we've found success for the last couple of years, ranging anywhere from somewhere between 6,000 and 10,000 has kind of been the going rate.
Okay.
And we've had good success with that, and then we've had mixed results going that direction. Truly, it is like real estate. It is a numbers game, right? It's just how many listing appointments with people you want to be in business with are you going on every day?
Yeah.
And that determines the type of quality you get. And we've had some great candidates that maybe didn't work, or there's outside influences from an unemployment standpoint that make it a little bit challenging to hire right now as well. But we're starting to see a big release of real estate school graduates here in the last probably 30 days, 45 days.
Everybody wants in.
Yeah, and the schools were closed for so long. So anybody who wanted in the last 6 months wasn't able to go take their test in person or their class in person. And so now we've had this just sudden surge of agents that are getting licensed all of a sudden.
Yes. So that's your primary responsibility. Are you measuring that? Are you using the Sisu recruiting to measure that as your agents are measuring their productivity, or are you not even familiar with that? Or
yeah, I am familiar, and I'm more do what I say, not what I do, because I'm not effectively using it. Let's put it that way. I've been logging some of them. I don't have them all logged though.
Okay. What about SOI? It seems to me you have a culture you seem to have this culture of, hey, you really want to be a part of this. And so I would think that your people who are in their first 12 months are probably helping you do recruiting with their contacts. Is that something you're finding is effective?
We found probably the most effective thing for recruiting is actually my own SOI and past clients. Our past clients have probably been our best source of recruiting leads, whether that's the clients themselves or somebody that they're in relationship with. And so we realized that we probably were missing a large portion of potential by not marketing our openings to our database. So we've started doing that in the last 60 days more aggressively, because I'll go through my Facebook list and just start like writing out names of somebody who I'd be willing to be in business with. Do I think they're sales or do I think they're operations? And then having a conversation around, what opportunity looks like for that person.
Yeah, it just sounds like, marketing, everyone's marketing to their database, but are they marketing job opportunities to their database?
Exactly.
Probably not. That's a great idea.
And that's the problem is that marketing, for the most part, as real estate agents, is pretty boring. And no one cares about your recipe card and the fact that it's fall or winterization time, but they do care about refinancing their mortgage, or they care about how they can not pay real estate taxes like Donald Trump, or how they can potentially get a new career if they've lost their previous job. And so we're mindful on ensuring that we send out value added items, including recruiting.
Yeah. Okay. Well, It's been great, Eric, just getting to know you.
Yeah, thanks.
I've heard a lot about you. Is there anything that you'd like to leave us with that you just feel is a crucial thing to be doing to prepare for next year?
I think one of the challenges that I have, and I see most agents have, is there is so much available from a technology standpoint and from an industry education standpoint that oftentimes we end up complicating the business. It truly is simple. It is meeting humans and adding value to people, and everything else becomes tracking and measuring and complications. And so that's one of the things that I love about Sisu is the ability to see at a very simple glance what are the actual numbers and transparency of our business. No stories, nothing more than the actual data itself and the simplicity of the business, what it was intended to be. So,
yeah. It is really that simple. And to add to what you said no stories. And I think that's the critical piece of doing one-on-ones is that your one-on-ones are numbers-based, not drama-based.
That's right.
So anyway, Eric, it's been great. Congratulations on all of your success.
Thank you.
You're crushing it.
Thanks.
Keep it going. I love being a part of it. And we'll keep our eye on you.
Awesome. Thanks so much. I appreciate the invite.
Yeah, thank you, Eric.
Thank you for joining us on our podcast. If you have an interest in a free 7-day trial of Sisu, go to sisu.co, sisu.co. Make sure that you use the coupon code GRIT, that's GRIT, to waive all your setup fees and receive a 10% discount on your subscription. If you enjoyed listening to this podcast and want to subscribe, search GRIT, the Real Estate Growth Mindset, on iTunes, Spotify, or Podbean. And with that, we'll catch you next time. Take care.